John, we're at the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's been a stinker today, absolutely boiling hot. But it's thrown up lots of interesting stuff for us to talk about on track. I think, you know, the temperature being so warm obviously plays into some teams' hands. We obviously see Max Verstappen and also both Red Bulls actually looking quite quick, but also the two McLarens as well. They seem to be quick wherever we go these days. So should we kick off, start talking about McLaren?
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, it's been, as you said, really hot day. I think, you know, 40 degrees in the pit lane, everyone's sweating, the paddock's kind of awful to trudge around and you're trying to find people and everyone's walking in the shadows.
Yes.
So it's tough there. It's even tougher out on track. You see cars running wide and incidents. But we've got kind of the first hints of what's happening. I think it looks like McLaren v Red Bull, not McLaren v Max, which is quite interesting.
Yep. We'll come on to that in a minute. With
Red Bull have bought an upgrade this weekend. Well, it's kind of a double upgrade, really. It's kind of new wing, floor, aero components, which both cars have.
Yeah.
And interestingly, some new side pods, cooling solution, engine cover, which only Max has got. But it's this kind of abandons that, you know, Mercedes gullies, engine, flares, whatever people call them on the cars, and it seems all right. Max seems quite encouraged.
Yeah.
So bit of progress from him. Lando says the car's quick on one lap, but he's still not quite so comfortable with it. But it's normal for Fridays. Drivers come out, feel a bit annoyed, and now they'll be flat out at work on their simulators, working all night. We'll rock up at FP3. Perhaps everything's changed.
I don't think anyone can feel comfortable today. It really was warm. But one driver who was doing better than usual was Sergio Perez. We normally see him struggle around all sorts of tracks, not just the street circuits, but the traditional racetracks like this one. But today he was, fourth in FP2? He looked quite strong. And he hasn't got the full upgrade that you mentioned that Max has. So encouraging signs for him, perhaps.
I think so. Christian Horner, I think, said it was Checo's best Friday of the season. I mean, Sergio had a good Friday at Silverstone. Let's not forget that. And it all went wrong on that outlap in Silverstone qualifying. So nothing's done yet. But I think he seems more comfortable. And I think you get this phenomenon with Checo that when the car's better and there's an improvement from the car, he seems closer to Max. It's when the car's not so good, when Max has to take it to the edge. Car's a bit more nervous. You've got to have more confidence. He tends to struggle. So as day one, big tick from Checo, and I think again, you know, we talked a bit yesterday about him, you know, defiant. I'm staying here the rest of the season. I'm staying here next year. Christian Horner and Helmut Marko have said that's not necessarily the case. We want to see the results. We'll take stock after Spa, decide in the summer break what's going on. But I think as Helmut Marko told my colleague Ronald Vording tonight, says if Checo performs as he's done today, keeps doing like this, he'll be fine.
I think for me the interesting thing was as well, Christian Horner saying that he has had a heart-to-heart with Perez. He said, you know, I had him around my house and we sat around the kitchen table and I said, what's going wrong? And he said, I'm just trying too hard. Interestingly, Perez never admitted such. He was saying, you know, I haven't spoken to the team, everything's fine. But that's obviously a sign that perhaps all's not well with him, but it does seem that he has these blips every now and again, but he tends to come back at various parts in the season. Maybe this is his time and he's delivering now when the pressure's really on. He knows that he's got to start delivering, otherwise, as you mentioned, he could be out the door.
Yeah, I think the key, absolute key, is this Constructors' Championship, because it's one thing Checo being 3 tenths off Max, finishing 20 seconds behind. If Max is 30 seconds ahead of the opposition, Checo's second, all hunky-dory. Team gets the Constructors' points, all fine. If it continues as now, where Checo isn't getting the points, then it can be a very, very different matter. That's what they need to see. They want to see points, they want to see results, and his fate will be decided by results. It won't be decided by his mind frame. It won't be decided by what he's thinking. It'll be decided by what he is doing.
I do wonder too whether any significance could be read into Liam Lawson doing the test at Silverstone last week as well. I mean, maybe that was the visual sign that Perez needed, you know, the proverbial kick up the backside to start delivering, maybe. But we will see.
I think there's a lot of, you know, they need to see that Checo can deliver when the pressure's properly on. And there's nothing that makes a driver more wake up to the challenges than the risk of getting replaced imminently. So, and as we keep saying, it's going to come down to results. He can say what he wants. He can say it's not my problem. He can say it's other people's faults. But at the end of the day, it's points. Red Bull wants to win the Constructors' Championship. His rate of scoring at the moment isn't good enough. it needs to get better.
Lando Norris topped FP2, another impressive performance. It wasn't totally error-free, there were a few moments, but he's still the quickest around this track at the moment. He seems to, wherever they go, I mean, McLaren seem to bring the car and it's just quick out the box. That used to be Red Bull's forte. It seems to be McLaren. It seems to be good anywhere in all sorts of temperatures. So what is it that they've done which is so groundbreaking in this respect?
I think potentially they've got the best car. There may be circumstances where others come into it. I mean, Mercedes, for example, I think we're seeing a definite trend, which confirmed by today, if it's cooler. Yeah. We've had some cool races in recent races. You think of Canada.
Yeah.
Think of Silverstone.
Yeah.
So cool and wet. How did Mercedes do? Should have won Canada, won at Silverstone. Yeah. Then we've had some hot races, Austria, Spain, and here on the Friday, Mercedes are a little bit adrift. So I think there's a definite trend. They need to understand why that car's not as competitive in the heat. But McLaren, quick in the cold, quick in the hot, quick in the high downforce, quick in the low downforce. They're there everywhere. And I think their challenge is stepping up and executing the weekends, because they're still close with Red Bull. They don't have a massive advantage. They're not cruising and going to win. They're going to have to go, as Zach said, toe-to-toe with Red Bull. And they've just got to not kind of let big opportunities slip through. Our teams make mistakes, Red Bull makes mistakes, Mercedes made mistakes, McLaren's made mistakes. It's part and parcel of the game. Some of them can get away with, some of them influence the outcome of a race. And this is, I think, McLaren is stepping up. But potentially Silverstone was a massive wake-up call for the team about the opportunity it has. Kind of the reflection on what happened at Silverstone, those kind of little things, being too greedy with Oscar's pit stop. Did they need better communication with Lando, that final stop? They'll come out from there, pick themselves up, execute, and would do them a world of good to produce a performance this weekend, get pole, win the race. Can you imagine how they're going to feel?
It'd be amazing, wouldn't it, for them? One thing we've not spoke about yet is the driver market. Obviously, it looks like we're going to get a decision soon on Esteban Ocon's future. James Vowles today saying that he doesn't see Williams and him crossing paths, so it looks like that now could be a straight shootout between Bottas and Sainz. Ultimately, they would like Sainz, but it could be that Bottas ends up there. Ocon, we're thinking Haas, aren't we?
Yeah, I think Ocon will end up at Haas in the end. Yeah. I think the contract not signed yet, but every indication he's going there. You spoke to Vowles. What do you reckon for?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, his second seat, I think it's looking like a potentially Valtteri Bottas return. I think he offers them a steady Eddie in terms of progress. He's looking forward to 26. I think he just affords them, a little bit of time, maybe a stopgap until really getting everything in play. That everything's geared towards 26 for Vowles. That's what he's thinking about. He was talking about this year, and obviously the progress that he made early doors was very good, but it's all stalled a little bit since then. And I think that is kind of diverting resource, energy, attention to getting through next year, but with a bigger picture view for 26. So for me, that makes a likely sense for Valtteri back to Williams. So be quite good fit.
Yeah, and I think it's another weekend where we race 13. Is this one?
Yeah.
Carlos Sainz still hasn't made a decision.
This is true.
It goes on and on and on. And I think it may go on after summer break. I think his sights are set on Mercedes. I think he wants that second Mercedes seat. I think Kimi Antonelli's form hasn't quite convinced Mercedes. It's a definite goer.
Yeah.
So I think Mercedes still have to make this decision about what's happening. I still think they've got half an eye, 3/4 of an eye on Max Verstappen. So I don't think Mercedes are going to rush to a decision.
Keep their options open.
That keeps Sainz's options open.
Exactly.
And that cork in the bottle stays.
Exactly. Yeah. Keeps us all guessing. What else? What other predictions have you got for tomorrow?
I think from what we're looking at. I think it's Lando and Oscar versus Max and potentially Checo. I think that's the clear two-way fight at the front. Mercedes maybe a little bit off, and we'll see from Ferrari. Leclerc had that incident today. Carlos seems quite confident. So a lot of analysis to do tonight, but I think again it's close. I don't think Mercedes is going to be as strong as they were recent races, but Lando and Max, we love it.
Excellent. I'm going to go and play some table tennis. Catch up tomorrow, and let's see if your predictions are right.